The Earth in Space. Geography, 6th, Chapter 1. The Earth in Space. When you look up at the sky during night, what do you see? One can see a bright object called the moon and millions of small twinkling stars. What do you see in the morning sky? We can see the rising sun, giving heat and light till the evening. But where does it disappear in the evening? And where do the stars and moon disappear in the morning? Perhaps they return to their home like you do after school. Do you know where is their home? Where do they live? Their home is the space, and they are always present in our sky. But then, why can't we see them all the time? We cannot see them all the time because of the rotation and the revolution of the Earth. Now you must be thinking, what is the rotation and revolution, and what and where is this space? The expanse beyond Earth's atmosphere, in which the solar system, stars, and galaxy and other heavenly bodies exist, is called space. Today we will take you on a journey to the space. Around our planet Earth, the black blanket dotted with stars, with limitless and boundless area, is known as space. The vast space contains millions of stars, planets, galaxies, asteroids, meteorites, gases, dust, etc. All the objects that belong to the sky are called celestial bodies or heavenly bodies. The emptiness and darkness of this huge space is broken by the light of these twinkling stars, which emit light of their own. Some heavenly bodies revolve around these stars. They are called planets. And there are some other bodies which revolve around these planets called satellites. In the same way as moon revolves around the Earth and our planet Earth revolves around the sun. In this chapter you will study about our solar system, the sun, the stars, the planets, asteroids, meteorites, and some of the different objects existing in our solar system. Solar System. Our solar system consists of sun, the planets, satellites, thousands and thousands of other small heavenly bodies such as asteroids, meteoroids, etc., which move around the sun. The sun, head of the solar family, is at the center of the solar system, and all the planets revolve around it. These heavenly bodies which revolve around the sun are called planets. There are 8 planets in our solar system: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and the Neptune. Earlier, Pluto was also considered as one of the planets of this system, but recent discoveries have proved that Pluto is not a planet but a dwarf planet. All the planets of the solar system revolve around the sun in elliptical paths, which are called orbits. The time taken by a planet to complete one revolution is called its period of revolution, and this depends on the distance of the planet from the sun. Since Mercury is nearest to the sun, it takes only about 88 days to complete one revolution, whereas our Earth, which is the third nearest planet to the sun, takes 365 days and 6 hours for the same. Similarly, the amount of heat received by a planet also depends on the distance of the planet from the sun. Therefore, Mercury, which is the closest to the Sun, receives the maximum heat, whereas the Neptune, which is the farthest, receives the minimum. These planets also spin or rotate on their own axis. Except Venus and Uranus, all other planets rotate in the same direction in which they revolve, that is, from west to east. Venus and Uranus rotate in the opposite direction, that is, from east to west. Time taken by a planet to complete one rotation is called its period of rotation. Even our Sun also rotates on its own axis. On the basis of size, these planets are classified into small and giant planets. Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars are called small planets, whereas the Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune are known as giant planets. A very simple way to memorize the names of the planets in order of their distance from the Sun is, "My very efficient mother just served us nuts." Click on the objects to know more about them. Sun. The Sun, which is the giant source of light and heat, is the primary source of energy to us. From our Earth, it looks like a glazed yellow ball which shines throughout the day and changes the dark nights into shiny, bright days. The Sun, head of our solar family, is a star. But why does it not twinkle like other stars? It looks bigger and does not twinkle because it is closer to the Earth than other stars. And you will be surprised to know that it is not unique in the universe. There are trillions of other stars in the universe just like our Sun. Many of these stars have their own solar system of planets, moons, asteroids and comets. Sun, which is a medium-sized yellow star, is estimated to be about halfway through its lifetime of 10,000 million years. About 5 billion years ago, the Sun was born in a vast cloud of gas and dust around. The Sun is a huge ball of burning gases. It is so big that more than 1 million Earths could fit inside it. Our own planet Earth seems very big to us. Now just imagine how big the Sun must be. It is 333,000 times as heavy as the Earth. It is the largest object of the solar system and contains approximately 98% of the total mass. The distance of the Sun from the Earth is about 150 million kilometers. The light from the Sun, which travels at a speed of about 300,000 kilometers per second, takes about 8 minutes to reach us on the Earth. We get heat and light from the Sun. But have you ever thought, from where does the Sun get this heat? As you know, Sun is a star, and like other stars, it is made up of gases. Hydrogen and helium are the main gases that make up the Sun. The moving cloud of these gases is known as nebula. Nuclear fusion is responsible for this source of heat. Do you know what is nuclear fusion? Nuclear fusion is a process in which two light nuclei combine to form a heavy nucleus, and during this fusion, huge amount of light, heat and energy is produced, which is the source of life on Earth. Mercury. Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun, is also the smallest planet of our solar system. Being very close to the Sun, it is very hot, and most of the time it is hidden by the glare of the Sun. Do you think life can sustain at such a high temperature? No, of course not. The reason is not only high temperature, but also lack of oxygen and water. It has no satellite. Venus. Venus is the second planet from the Sun and closest to the Earth. Venus is known as Earth's sister planet because it is made up of almost the exact materials as the Earth and in about the same amount. It has volcanoes, mountains and sand, just like our Earth. Do you think life is possible on Venus? No. Although Venus is almost identical in size, chemistry, gravity and density as the Earth, yet life could not be possible on this planet. Let's see why. Venus is a deadly world where the surface temperature is hot enough to cook a meal in mere minutes, and with the atmosphere which only contains mostly carbon dioxide, no living thing would ever be able to survive on Venus. There are several layers of clouds composed of sulfuric acid. This dense atmosphere produces a runaway greenhouse effect that raises Venus's temperature and makes it the hottest planet of the solar system. Sometimes it is visible in the western sky just after sunset and in the eastern sky before sunrise. Therefore, it is known as the evening star and the morning star, although it is not a star. Venus does not have any satellite, and unlike Earth, it rotates from east to west. The Earth. Earth, our mother planet, the planet on which we live, also known as Dharti Ma, blesses us with life, food, shelter, environment, and wonderful creations which make our world beautiful. It is a unique planet, is the third planet from the Sun, and the fifth largest in our solar system. Earth is also the first planet starting from the Sun that has a natural satellite called the Moon. It is the only planet where life exists. But how and why? Why Earth is a unique planet? Why is life possible only on Earth and not on any other planet? Let us find the answer. All the conditions which are favorable for the evolution, existence, and survival of all forms of life exist only on this planet. The Earth has all the essential elements like carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. It has the right kind of temperature and a protective blanket of ozone around it. Presence of water is also an important factor. All these factors are necessary to sustain all types of life. From space, the Earth appears blue because of the presence of water. The shape of our planet is more or less like a sphere that has been compressed. The shape of the Earth is unique, so the scientists have described it as geoid, which means Earth-like shape. The Earth takes 365 days and 6 hours to complete one revolution around the Sun. It also rotates around its axis and completes a rotation in 24 hours. The axis of rotation of the Earth is not perpendicular to the plane of its orbit. The tilt in the axis is responsible for the change in seasons on the Earth. The Mars. Mars, also known as Mangal Grah, is the fourth planet from the Sun and the seventh largest in our solar system. It is seen as a reddish-colored object in the sky. Therefore, it is commonly called Red Planet. There is a lot of solid carbon dioxide on this planet. No life on Mars has been detected till now. However, possibility of life on Mars in the future is being worked on. The scientists and researchers are trying to find the traces of life on Mars. Mars has two small satellites that revolve around it. Moon, the brightest object in the night sky, has emotional binding with the people of Earth. Children have always been attracted to the beauty and brightness of the moon and hence call it Chanda Mama. Various festivals are celebrated in India in relation to the position of the moon. Moon is the only natural satellite of the Earth and is the fifth largest in our solar system. It is the brightest object in the sky after the sun, although its surface is actually very dark, with a similar reflectance to coal. It has no light of its own. Then, how does it shine? How does it give off light in the night sky? Actually, moon does not emit light. Instead, it just reflects the light which it gets from the sun. It revolves around the Earth and also rotates on its own axis and completes a revolution and a rotation in the same time. That is, in 27 days, 8 hours. There is no water or air on the moon, so it is very hot during day and very cold during night. Neil Armstrong was the first man to land on the moon on July 21st, 1969. Can you tell what is the shape of the moon? Sometimes it appears perfectly round, but is it the same throughout the month, or are there some nights where the sky is without moon? Yes, moon cannot be seen for certain days. But why is it so? As we have talked earlier, the moon is a non-luminous body. That is, it has no light of its own. Only that part of the moon which reflects sunlight is visible, as the moon revolves around the Earth and the Earth revolves around the sun. The relative position of the moon and the Earth with respect to the sun changes with time. These changes in position of the moon result in changing shapes of the moon, which is called the phases of moon. The phases of moon depend upon its position in relation to the sun. The moon waxes, means the lit up portion increases and wanes, meaning lit up portion decreases as it moves around the sun. When the moon is in between the sun and the earth, the sunlight reflected from the moon cannot reach us. Hence, we cannot see the moon. It is called the new moon day or Amavasya. On the next day, the visible part of the moon is crescent moon. The remaining part of the moon is fairly visible because the sunlight reflected from the earth falls on the moon. The size of the visible part of the moon goes on increasing, and within a week and a half of its face becomes visible. It is also called first quarter or half moon. The increase in visible part of the moon continues, and on the 15th day, when the earth comes between the sun and the moon, its full face becomes visible. It is called full moon, also known as Purnima. After full moon, the size of the visible part of the moon goes on decreasing every night, and after another 15 days again, the new moon is formed. Geography, 6th, Chapter 1. The Earth in Space. Solar System. The Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet of our solar system, which is more than twice as massive as all the other planets combined. It is so large that about 1,300 Earths can be placed inside the giant planet. Jupiter is considered as a gas giant because it does not have a solid surface and consists of gas only. It is covered by clouds, and an enormous red spot can be seen in these clouds. It consists mainly of hydrogen gas. Jupiter has large number of satellites and also has faint rings around it. It has 63 moons. The Uranus. Uranus is the 7th planet of the solar system and the 3rd largest. It appears green when seen through a telescope. The most remarkable feature of Uranus is that it has a highly tilted rotational axis. As a result of its orbital motion, it rolls on its side around the Sun. Like Venus, it also rotates in the opposite direction of its revolution, that is, from east to west. Like Saturn, it also has rings around it, but these rings are not as developed as that of Saturn. It has 27 moons. Uranus is a very cold planet and thus cannot sustain life. The Saturn. Saturn is the 6th planet from the Sun and the 2nd largest planet of our system. It can be seen in the sky with naked eye as a bright yellow planet. Saturn is very similar to Jupiter as it has about 75% of hydrogen and 25% of helium with traces of water. It has several rings around it, which consist of particles, possibly ice. It has 62 moons, and one of them, Titan, is the largest moon, which is also larger than the planet Mercury. The Neptune. Neptune is the 8th planet from the Sun and the last of the giant planets. It is far off and can only be seen through a telescope. Neptune has rings around it, but they are not as developed as that of Saturn. It has 13 known moons, and largest one is Triton. Asteroids. Between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, there are small rock pieces revolving around the Sun in elliptical orbits. These rock pieces are called asteroids or minor planets. They are believed to be pieces of a planet which probably exploded after its birth. The largest asteroid is Ceres. Most of the asteroids are not visible to the naked eye. We can see them only through a telescope. Stars. Stars, shining, twinkling in the night sky, make the sky beautiful, soothing. We celebrate Diwali once in a year, but our sky seems to celebrate it every night. Our sky has countless stars, but do you know what are these stars? They look very small in the sky, but are they really small? Let's know the truth about these stars. What is a star? The luminous heavenly body which emits light of its own is called a star. There are millions and millions of stars in the space. These stars together form a group called galaxy, and there are millions of galaxies in the whole universe. Our Earth and Sun belong to a galaxy called Milky Way galaxy. Some of the stars seem to be arranged in some beautiful patterns. Such patterns are called constellations. Have you ever seen any such pattern? Does this constellation resemble with something or someone? This is a very commonly seen constellation. There are 7 stars in this group, and it is known as Ursa Major or Saptarishi. It is also called Great Bear because the stars are arranged in such a way that they seem to form the outline of a big bear. It also looks like a big question mark. There is another constellation with the same pattern called Ursa Minor. The difference is that the stars in this group are close together and less brighter than those in Ursa Major. But at the tail of Ursa Minor, you can find a very important star of average brightness called Pole Star, which is also known as Dhruv Tara or Laghu Saptarishi. Now, a very interesting fact. Which is bigger, the moon or a star? Definitely your answer will be moon, because it looks bigger in the sky. But this is not true. Stars are very large objects and are several times bigger, even than our Earth. Then why do they look small to us? They look small because they are far off from us. Do you know which is the closest star to us? Yes, it is the Sun, our star which gives off light all the time.